Items. Crown of Shattered Queen. 7 AP, 250 health, 600 health, or 600 mana, 20 ability haste. You are safeguarded, reducing incoming damage by 50%. Safeguard persists. Oh, so this is the mythic item that we saw originally shown earlier to give mages a defensive option for being assassinated. I actually love this option. I think it's probably a must-have and a must-do in the current game state. I think that people just one-shot you way too easily, and mages just kind of feel like crap right now. And I think that this is a good defensive option to have as a secondary. One thing to note too is you might see less people going Zonias because of it. This will go for AP Bruisers. No way Xerath builds this. I mean, you could see a Xerath building this if he's against like a Zed and a Kiana. It's not unreasonable at all. Wonder if Swain will abuse this. I could see Swain building this. This is kind of like a pseudo rod, right? It has 250 health in it too, so it definitely is like a Swain oriented item for sure. And the thing to note though is Safeguard only lasts 1.5 seconds. It's pretty easy to knock off. You know what I mean? I feel like my personal thought on this item is I don't think it's actually as good as people realize. Or I don't think it's I think it's not as good as people give credit to it. Sorry, I think it's overrated. And the reason why I think this item is overrated is because I think if you get used to using, or you get used to interacting with this item, you'll just whack it off. And then you'll go in later. You know what I mean? Like, you'll play around it. Because it's got the Banshee's Veil effect, right? It's kind of like, well, yeah, you don't dump your full combo in a guy with Banshee's Veil, right? This is just the physical form of that. I think this item is good. It doesn't say that it's mythic, but I assume that it's a mythic mechanic. But I'm not really sure that this item is going to be like that great. I think it looks not bad. I like the stats on it. It feels more bruisery. Oh, you're right. It has a mythic passive on it. It feels more bruisery than it does like casters. So I don't really know who's going to build this. Like, maybe Rise gets something like this, but you're probably right, like Xerath or something like that. I'm not really sure they'll build it just because I just feel like when players get better, they'll just pop it off you. That's how I feel. I look at this item and go like, okay, so if I was a Zed versus a Xerath and Xerath had this item, I just throw, I double W, I throw a Shuriken, it pops it, I just wait, and then I can go in. Like, you even have kill windows past the 1.5 seconds. Just don't be an idiot. Like, that's what when I look at this item, I just go like, just don't be an idiot. And then the item is not nearly as good. So I think this is an overrated item. I think it won't be bad. Maybe we'll see bruisers use it, but I don't think it's that good of an item. I think that the problem is the way they showed the item was they showed a Talon, like, all-inning onto a Xerath who had it. And it was like, okay, but what if the Talon just wasn't an idiot and just, like, dashed to him and just stood there for 1.5 seconds and then waited for the shield to go away and then just dumped all of his damage, right? It's just like, I don't know, man. It felt like the video they showed us was trolling. You know what I mean? It felt like the video was trolling us. Okay, so let's move to the next item. Mythic passive seems interesting. More bruisery stuff. Ever Shroud. 200 health, 20 ability haste, 30 armor, 30 magic resist. Okay, so this reads a lot like a tank item that doesn't have Bambies in it, which is what people wanted, right? Repentance. After immobilizing champions or being immobilized, cause that target and all nearby enemies to repent, increasing the damage they take by 12% for 5 seconds. Grants 5 armor and 5 MR. Okay, so I think that this is a good item. But I want to talk about something that's really important. Before we get into the item, I want to talk about something that Riot really hasn't understood with the problem with tanks. The problem with tanks is that tanks feel like they don't have a mythic that has either all armor or all MR. And that is actually a huge problem because that means that usually, as a tank, you build the useless stat for your lane. Okay? It's a really huge problem that a lot, like, Riot really doesn't seem to understand. So, like, this has armor and MR. Wow, that's cool. Great. But the problem is if you're an Ornn versus a Camille, No one wants the 30 magic resist. That's actually a waste of your gold. You're wasting gold on nothing. This was the main complaint about all the Bambi Cinder lines too, as you can see right here. They have too much arm. They don't have a specific stat. What they need to do for these mythic items is what they should do is they should actually have 2 different build paths for the mythic item. So for example, what you should be able to do is when I build Evershroud, I should be able to choose, maybe you can do 3 of them. I should be able to choose, it either has 60 armor or 60 magic resist. That's what you should do, because that's the problem right now with all the tank items. I mean, this is a cool tank support item, don't get me wrong. I'll probably build this on champions like Maokai, Leona, Nautilus, etc. over Locket, right? But the problem is like these items have budgets you don't want. You don't want these budgets. Maybe as a tank support, it's not as big of a deal because by the time you get one item, you're usually grouping, so then you interact with armor and MR like damage. But for a regular tank top laner, these items aren't fixed. They aren't fixing the problem. The problem is that these items have split armor MR, and usually a tank doesn't want that in their laning phase. They really just have no idea what they're doing when it comes to tank mythics. That's how I feel. Because if a full year finishes and concludes and all tanks are pretty much useless and you couldn't land on this as your solution, then that makes me concerned. That makes me concerned about like the direction of or understanding of itemization when it comes to tanks. This is a great tank support item, like I said before. 12% is a lot of damage, by the way. I'm curious to see how big the area effect is. I'm hoping it's not that big. I'm hoping it's very small, like maybe 300 metrics is what I would usually have as like an okay AoE circle. It is interesting though that, yeah, you are right. It does proc while you're being immobilized. Kind of weird. I'll be honest with you. Kind of a weird mechanism. Not sure how crazy I am about this. Overall though, there you go guys. There's your tank support mythic. So tanks will actually feel tanky when you play tank supports, which will probably mean that tank supports are going to be pretty broken unless we're seeing some huge overhauls on enchanters. Next, let's move over to Frostfire Gauntlet. As I've already kind of gone my tirade, doesn't fix the problem, so let's check out these. It's got the Immolate effect. Snowbird attack creates a frost field for 1.5 seconds, deals magic damage to all enemies in the area. Enemies that move across the field are slowed. Okay. And then it still has the same thing. So basically, they're just making it so like people take damage and get slowed when they run over the slow field. So it's like actually like a centralized element of the game. Not really that big of a deal. Probably doesn't matter at all because no one's going to play tank tops because of what I just complained about. Next. Turbo Chem Tank. Alright, no fixes on basically the same thing I complained about. Active, Supercharge. Grants movement speed towards enemy or enemy turrets for 4 seconds. Once you are near an enemy or after 4 seconds, a shockwave is emitted that slows people. Okay, same thing. Refuel. Moving and dealing damage fills up Chem Tank. At 100 stacks, your basic attack deals magic damage to all nearby enemies. Don't know how big that circle is. Increased by 25% against minions and 75% against jungle monsters. Okay, so basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to give you like a big nuke for clearing camps. So this is supposed to be what you build when you play jungle now, right? Because like they're obviously 175% extra against jungle monsters. Literally just basically says, hey, this is what Sejuani jungle builds now. This is what you will build. This is what Udyr builds. Exactly. Like all the old Chem Tank characters probably coming back a lot. Ability, haste, and health. Interesting stat budget. Not sure how I feel about it, but it's not a bad spread. This will just be a tank jungle item. They added 50 HP on the mythics. Cool, I guess. So next is kind of like the really different items, right? So Winner's Approach. 400 health, 500 mana, 15 ability haste. Feels a lot like Roa now, by the way. Feels a lot like Roa. So we actually have kind of two pseudo Roa items now. So we might start seeing some of the old Roa Roa users come back. Maybe we see some more Rise using all these items. Maybe we see some more Swain using these items. Maybe even like AP Cho'Gath Maybe Malachi actually becomes a good top laner, not even because of the tank items, but because he can actually just build things like this. You know, like tanks that can use the extra AP and ability haste. Anivia maybe, yeah, those kinds of things. So yeah, Kassadin, all great examples. Okay, so this is basically a Roa substitute. This is the thing that builds out of tier, I believe. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that this builds out of Tear of the Goddess. So gain bonus health equal to 8% of your mana. So, you know, we're already feeling the Roa effects. And then mana charge. Strike a target with an ability or attack to consume a charge and gain 3 bonus magic mana. Doubled if the target is a champion. Grants maximum of 360 mana, at which point this item turns into Fimbulwinter. Okay, so this is how you stack it. Alright, so yeah, it's a tier effect. Okay, so this is how you stack it, and here is your completed tier effect. So obviously you have the extra 360 mana, you get the extra health, and now, immobilizing or slowing, melee only. Okay, well, they already decided that this item was not going to be a Swain or a Rise item. I like it, though. I like it. Probably good changes, honestly, because otherwise you're going to have an abuse case. So this was smart of them. I love it. Actually, so proud of them that they already preemptively saw this coming. Yeah, not for Ezreal or anything like that. Perfect. On an enemy, consume 3% of your current mana and grant a shield for 3 seconds, absorbing damage. This shield is increased by 8% if there is more than one enemy nearby. Looks like a great item. Yeah, actually, someone typed it in chat. So this is only a melee item, so maybe really good on Taric. Maybe Malachi will be really strong with this item. I could easily see Malachi using that. Yeah, Swain and Rise can't use it. No. It's immobilizing or slowing melee only. Or, okay, so 2 things. If this is only by itself, then Rise and Swain can use it. If this and this together is melee only, Swain and Rise can't use it. So I don't know by the writing whether or not it's, you know what I mean? I don't know if it's just slowing that's melee only, or if immobilizing or slowing are melee only together. Hard to know, really. If I had to assume, guys, I'm assuming that it's melee only for both. I would assume that it's melee only for both, looking at the way they wrote it. But I could be wrong. So, you know, Rise and Swain, maybe you get to use this item. But if not, then, you know, this might make Malachi top pretty good. Someone said Taric. Yeah, I think this is actually a fantastic Taric item. Maybe Taric will actually be a playable character. You know, just anything that dumps mana is going to really like this item a lot. Udyr. I don't know if Udyr will build this, honestly. I don't feel like Udyr runs into too many melee, mana problems. The only way this would be something like an Udyr item is if this number, the damage that it absorbs, is a really high number. This number would have to be really high. Yeah, like the number has to be really high. So like you need to need the mana / ability haste, plus like the number probably has to be pretty high. So interesting item. I'm glad they finally figured out a way to like mechanically put something like this in the game. So super good, super excited, love this change. Very good item. Super happy about it. Axiom Arc. It's got AD, lethality, ability haste. Refresh. Whenever a champion dies within 3 seconds of having damaged them, refund 25% of your ultimate's ability cooldown. Alright, cool. So we're just going to have Zeds. We're just going to have Zeds, Kianas, and Nocturnes using multiple ults in a fight. This is going to be incredibly unfun. Incredibly an unfun item. And I don't see a mythic passive in here, so I assume this is a legendary ult item too. Not crazy about it. Yeah, not crazy about it at all. It also has 25 ability haste already on it. One of the worst things that I felt like ever happened to League of Legends is Urf. Because when Urf came out, people had a lot of fun spamming all their abilities, and it feels like a lot of League's current game design is predicated around trying to make Summoner's Rift feel like Urf. And that's what this item screams at me for. I think this item will be really unfun to play against. Also, by the way, could easily see this item just be in an absolute fringe abuse case where people who aren't even lethality users build this item. Could easily see it. Could easily see things like Riven build it. Maybe Darius. You know, Camille. Like, maybe even ADCs build it, like Jhin. I could see this literally used on like a lot of different characters. Ezreal could build this. Remember Duskblade Ezreal? You could build this on Ezreal and like multi-ulti people. I could MF. Like, I could see this item really being used, not just for assassins. And I feel like that probably will make the red flag of the item. That's how I feel right now. When I look at this item, I think, oh, more than just assassins are going to use it, and I think that will be problematic. Next, Shadow Flame. Not crazy about this item. I hate it pretty much. Shadow Flame. Ability power health. Damage. Damage to champion benefits from 10 to 20 magic pen based on target's current health. So, what? Max value is 1,000 health or less. Min value. So this is Oblivion Orb, right? This is the old Oblivion Orb that gives you magic pen. Gains max penetration if the target was already affected by shields. Oh, this is like that anti-shield item that people told me. But it's not, though. I don't understand. Like, why did people tell me that this item was like Serpent's Fang? This isn't like Serpent's Fang at all. It's not. It just gives you spell pen. And then if they got shielded, it's just spell pen. Serpent's Fang literally stops incoming shields by 50%. Like, they are not the same at all. Like, they don't even, like, these don't even come close to the same power level. Like, this item is weird, though, because it has dynamic magic pen based on target's current health. So, like, squishier targets get more magic pen onto them. Yeah, this item just seems weird. I am scared about it, though, by the way, because if you didn't already know, Sorc Shoes and Ludens / Protobelt all have Magic Pen in it already, and it already feels like it's actually pretty easy for characters to get Magic Pen. So this probably means that, like, if you play against any one-shot Wonderland characters, you're going to probably need to get a No Magic Mantle, like, very early on. Because otherwise, they're going to literally do, like, infinite damage to you. Like, I could easily see a world where Annie goes Sorc Shoes, Protobelt, Shadow Flame. And that is what? That's like 36 or 40. It's like 45 magic pen. Even if I only gave it the 10, that's crazy. Like, that's too much. That's too high. That seems really OP. So, I mean, in all honesty, when I look at some of these items, it feels like Riot is totally fine with how fast you die in this game. That's kind of the vibe I get. They're totally cool with you literally dying instantaneously every fight. Because that's kind of the vibe I get from looking at these kinds of items, right? Is like, I don't see any, like, I don't see damage getting tuned down. So that's crazy. I think that's just too much. I think this item is weird. This item is weird because it doesn't actually do what Serpent's Fang does, and then it just has Magic Pen tacked onto it, and, like, characters already felt like they had pretty good Magic Pen options, so it feels really weird that now there's another one. I don't know. That's terrifying to me. It feels like if you play anything that's not, like, automatically building 4,000 health or, like, tanky stats, you're probably just going to get blown up instantly every fight. Don't like it. Don't like it at all. This is too much damage in the game. I don't like either of these items. Here, I'm going to unplug this so we don't hear that anymore. There's too much damage. These two items right here just scream bad direction for the game. Don't like it at all. Too scary. Terrifying direction for me, and I'm not a fan. Alright, moving over to Cosmic Drive. 60 ability power, 250 health, 30 ability haste, and, so they're just buffing it. You know, it's really weird, by the way, because at least for me, I feel like I use Cosmic Drive a ton. But, like, they're putting more ability haste into it. It's weird. Okay, and then they changed the ability haste threshold, so now you don't need the ability, or they changed the ability power requirement. It used to need 160 ability power to get the ability haste. So now what they're doing is they're taking away that, jamming it here, and just giving it ability power. So after damaging a champion with 3 separate attacks or spells, gain 30 movement speed and 40 ability power. So like they've retooled this item basically. It used to be an item that gave you a bunch of ability haste and some passive movement speed, right? As long as you built it a second item. Now what they're trying to do is that it's echo passive. This item is just echo passive now, right? Like you go in, you throw like 3 spells onto somebody, and then you just gain movement speed and ability power. I don't think this item will be built that much. I don't think this item will be built that much unless there's more fighters. So like, for example, you know what I could see this on? Imagine like a Mordekaiser. You know, a Mordekaiser in the fight gets that movement speed, or like, you know, a lot of the characters that used to run Phase Rush. So remember like Syndra with Phase Rush, Victor with Phase Rush, Rise with Phase Rush, etc. All those kinds of like Phase Rushy kinds of characters will all run this item. Yeah, MS, AP, Haste. So like anything that runs like Phase Rushy kind of stuff will just be fucking running circles around you with this item. 100%. It will be miserable to play against. Because they'll probably still fucking run Phase Rush with it, by the way. Yeah, that's the thing. They'll probably still run Phase Rush and also run this. Yeah. So, like, I think this is a really big Syndra item, Rise item, Victor item. I think those are the kinds of characters. Maybe you see it on things like Gwen and stuff. I'm not even really sure. Gwen, Diana, I'm not really sure about those characters. I really feel like this is a Phase Rush character. Ranged burst mages that already ran Phase Rush that will run this. Yeah, it lasts till you run out of combat, right? So if you have like Liandry's, it's actually really easy to maintain combat the whole time, because when you dot people, it recombats, right? So like, Orianna is a great example too. Yeah, Orianna. So this is a mage DPS like Phase Rush item. This will be really unfun to deal with in combination if where is it? If this item allows you to root people as ranged and get the shield. Because then things like Rise and oh my god, Rise will absolutely be not fun. Rise will actually be miserable to play against. Okay, so let's move to the next one. Horizon Focus. I think it has more ability power, right? I think it had 100 before. It randomly has health in it now. I don't know if it had health in it before. I literally I never look at this item. Now also includes slows to trigger Horizon Focus, so Rylai's Crystal Scepter works too. I think this is just their attempt at trying to make it so you'll be more interested in getting Rylai's in combination with this. Not a bad change. Seems kind of whatever though. I don't think it matters that much. Demonic Embrace. Ability power health. Damaging abilities burn people for 2/1.25% magic damage. Converts 2% of your bonus health to ability power. Okay, so they're getting rid of the armor and MR. If people don't know what this item used to do, it used to give you armor and MR for people that you were hitting. So now it doesn't do that at all. And instead just converts your bonus health into ability power. So like you'll build this item, and then maybe you'll build Rylai's Crystal Scepter, or maybe you build Fimbul Winter. You'll probably build something like that. That will just give you a ton of extra HP, and that will be kind of like what you care about to like stack stuff. Seems kind of weird. The numbers are really where I don't understand everything. Because like 2% of your health as bonus ability power. So let's say you have a bonus of 1,000 health. You get 20 ability power. Is that really that much? You know what I mean? I'm not sure that like that number is really insane. Oh yeah, it's really good for Vladimir. You're right. Really good for Vladimir. Probably broken on Vladimir. No, you're right. I tested the tank tier item, and it gives a shield on Swain when he immobilizes the enemy, but the shield itself isn't so crazy big. Yeah, I think what they did was they smartly punched a bunch of the shield power into needing to be next to multiple enemies. Interesting item anyway. A bunch of people are telling me check out Seraphs anyway, so maybe that item isn't even that good and Seraphs is actually better. So we're actually at Seraphs. So this is like literally a Vladimir item. I don't know. Like Vladimir item, basically. Oh yeah, people were saying also it has 100 more HP than it did before. Okay, that's cool. Probably to make up for the fact that you don't have armor or MR on it anymore. Fine changes. This is where I don't know if it's good or not. That's how, I don't know how to look at a number and be like, yes, this is really good. Seems kind of whatever. Seraph seems overstuffed. All right, let's check it out. So, Seraph's Embrace. Ability power, mana, health. Gain ability haste based on 1.3% bonus mana. Don't know what that number converts to, but that's probably insane. Okay, restores health equal to 40% of mana spent. So they gave it Catalyst buff, right? This is a passive. This is Catalyst buff. Toggles can restore the same amount per 1 second. So it's just Catalyst buff. So like when you cast spells, you heal, right? It's roughly 20 with a mythic plus item. Okay, that's actually a very helpful thing. So that's actually a lot of ability haste, by the way. And so what do I think about this? Toggles can restore the same amount per 1 second. Huh? Does this mean... Okay, I'm not sure if I'm reading this correctly, but I read this as you can only get healed every second. Right? Like that, is that what it means? You can only get healed every second? Toggles can restore the same amount per 1 second. Or maybe like what happens is it can only happen every second. So then you can toggle it to like slowly give you the healing that's stored. Really confusing. Really confusing. I don't quite understand it. Like card this E, so abilities that constantly spend mana. Okay. Seems really great. Seems like huge changes to the Seraphs. No shield on it, which is disappointing, but I mean, Seraphs will be a really good item to build. I'll probably build it a lot on supports now, especially since Cosmic Drive just got nerfed a bunch for supports. Overall, I think this item is really good. I mean, I just keep saying it, right? Rise fucking Swain. Rise and Swain just seem like they're just going to be pseudo-tanky characters. What I'm terrified of, though, right now, by the way, reading a lot of these items, is I'm terrified that, you know how like we have Gore Drinker Sterix, right? I'm terrified that mages are just going to also be Gore Drinker Sterix, but they'll just be like that tank item and Seraphs. You know what I mean? They'll just be like tank item and Seraphs. That's what I'm scared of, right? Like tank item and Seraphs. Like imagine this. Then they go Seraphs, right? They go Seraphs afterwards, and then they build Shadow Flame. Oh, not Shadow Flame, sorry. Cosmic Drive. And, like, you're just trying to lock down a Rise that just has 4,000 health and 4,000 movement speed. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about mages just basically being another Sterix Gore Drinker. That's what I'm concerned about with a lot of these items. Okay. Oh, I'm so popular. Force of Nature. Oh, we're bringing this back. HP, magic resist, mana, movement speed. Absorbs. Taking damage from enemy champions grants a stack of Steadfast. Enemy immobilizing effects grant 2 additional stacks. Okay, what does Steadfast do? Dissipate. While 6 stacks of Steadfast take 20% reduced damage and 10% movement speed. Okay, so we brought back... what was that item? Was it Abyssal Mask? It wasn't, right? It was the item that made you take less magic damage from the same magic category. I don't remember what it was called, but it's basically that. That's what they're basically doing right here. Was it Old Abyssal Helm? I think it was, right? Adaptive Helm. That's what it was. It was Adaptive Helm. So that's what they're taking their inspiration from this item. So maybe tanks actually can keep the, Oriannas and Rises in check. Maybe this is actually like an item that kind of like balances everything out. I like this. At least there's some preemptive hey, you know, if there's mages that are cycling cast a bunch of times that are too tanky, at least we can make someone really hard to deal with. So I like that. I like this item interaction. Honestly, with a lot of the items we've just looked over, kind of feel like Singe is a little bit OP, though. You know what I mean? Maybe Singe is a little OP. Lots of AP options. He's got a tier item now that he can build that heals him. Now he can, like, get a bunch of movement speed and damage reduction against mages. He might be we might see a lot of Singe top. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking, like, maybe Singe top, kind of OP. Knight's Vow. All right, this item was terrible in the new fucking season. Abomination is a good word for it. So let's see if they did anything to it. Same health, same ability haste, same health regen. Pledge. All right, so that's the connector part that you connect to somebody. Sacrifice. While worthy enemy ally is nearby, redirect 10% of the damage that they take to you and heal for 8% of their damage dealt. Okay, so they brought back the healing mechanic of the item. If they have less than 30% health, the damage reduction is increased to 20%. Oh, that's cool. I like that. HP regen was halved. That's fine. Not a real stat, by the way. Health regen is not a real stat. Perfect. I actually like this change. This is a cool change. So now if your teammate is getting really low, you'll take a lot of extra damage from them. This is actually a reasonable item now to build if there's assassins that are killing your AD carry. Love it. It's about time support items actually felt like support items, because you guys watch me, right? I play Leona right now. I don't even build support items. I build pure tank. I go Frostfire Gauntlet, Frozen Heart, Abyssal Mask. I ain't building any tank support items. So good change. A good focus change too, to actually give the item its solution to its mechanical problem, right? Which is you build this when there's assassins killing your AD carry. Like the change. Big fan of it. Super good. Abyssal Mask. HP, magic resist, has some ability haste now. Cursed enemy champion. Reducing their magic resist. For each cursed enemy, gains 7 magic resist. This doesn't tell me anything. I'm going to assume that Unmake is some mechanism where you deal damage to somebody, right? Or take damage from them. Curse nearby enemy champions. Oh, maybe it's just an aura. Maybe it's an aura then. The more people that are around you, the more magic resist you get, and you reduce their magic resist. Honestly, I don't think Abyssal Mask will be built that often anymore, just because of the fact that Force of Nature will be an option on the table. It's a Moo passive? Okay. So kind of a boring item, but I don't think you'll build this very often unless you have like a lot of AP on your team. You would need a lot of AP. I would need probably 3 magic damage dealers to be like, hey, can someone who goes in build this for us? Kind of just whatever about it. Not that great. Not a cool change, just a whatever change. All right, so we're going over the final hump, guys. The final hump, which is our runes. So, lethal tempo. Gain attack speed for 6 seconds when striking at least one enemy with each attack. This effect stacks up to 6 times. Okay, cool. So it's a ramping up attack speed thing. While the effect is capped, also gain attack range and increase your attack cap. Finally, there's a distinguishable difference between Hail of Blades and Lethal Tempo. Love this. This is a great hyper carry rune. I like it a lot. It screams Kog'Maw to me. It screams Caitlyn to me. You know, those long-range AD carries that have actually been struggling a lot recently. Just because their range seems to not matter, which is kind of sad. So love the changes. Super good. It felt like Lethal Tempo and Hail of Blades felt too similar for too long. This gives it a distinguishable difference. Good job. Good rune. Next, Glacial Augment. Immobilizing an enemy will cause 3 glacial rays to emanate from them towards you and the other nearby champions, creating frozen zones for a second that slow enemies and reduce their damage by 15% against your allies, not including yourself. So this is a great substitute if you're a tank and you feel like you don't need Aftershock, but I'm going to be honest with you right now, I don't know if this is going to be that great. And the reason why I don't know if this is going to be that great is because Aftershock is just kind of so OP. You know what I mean? Aftershock is such a fundamental part of literally tank design, actually, right now, especially for tank supports, that I'm not really sure too many characters will take this. Maybe it'll be so OP. Maybe the slow is so OP in laning phase that they just don't care about being squishier. It's not an unreasonable thing to say. But it will make you squishier in later stages of the game. What about champions like Morgana? Maybe a Morgana takes something like that. That's not unreasonable. Maybe ranged characters with CC actually take this. I could easily see, yeah, someone said Thresh. Thresh might not be a bad character. You know, characters that have range CC might actually be pretty good. Yeah, Lethal Tempo will probably be what you take on Senna, by the way. Seems interesting. One complaint, though. One of the things, though, to keep in mind, guys, is even if you take this, if games do go longer, it's not going to be a good rune later on. And one of the complaints I would easily have is the inspiration tree. It's not really that good. I don't think the inspiration tree, like the small runes and stuff like that, compared to like the green tree and the precision tree with Triumph, Legends, Tenacity, etc. I don't think any of those runes compare. And that might be actually the main reason why I'm not as crazy about Glacial Augment as maybe, if it was in a Resolve tree, for example. Yo, what's up, Izzy? Alright, and then we're going to go into First Strike. Damaging an enemy with an attacker ability before they do so grants 5 gold and First Strike for 3 seconds. Causing your attacks or abilities to deal 12% extra damage against champions and granting 100%, 70% for range of that damage dealt as gold. What? Okay, when I read this, I think that conceptually it's not a bad idea. It's a new spin on Klepto, by the way. But the numbers might be a bit too much. Yeah, might be a bit too much, guys. Might be a bit too much. 12% extra damage. Okay, so the way I look at this is they've done the right thing, okay, with this rune. They've done a riot thing. If you want something that makes gold, that's fine. But you don't need this. You don't need the extra damage. Get rid of this. Literally, take it, delete it. Get rid of it. You don't need the extra damage on it because this rune should be a conscious choice between whether you're doing damage or making gold. It should not do both. It's just a bad fundamental thing. You want conscious decisions. Stop doing that. Because the problem is you know what's going to happen? Is they're going to nerf everything around this rune that makes it fun and different, like the gold that you make and stuff, because the damage is too high. It's too much, guys. Like, you messed up. You know what I mean? You messed up. So stop that. Stop doing that. Take away the 12% damage. I think the concept is fine. Just get rid of the damage. The damage, nope, don't have it. Just don't have it. Because if you try to balance the damage around it, all you'll end up doing is nerfing the damage like 12 times, and it will be a boring rune at the end of it because you'll kill the rune. You know what I mean? Just get rid of the damage. Cool concept. Numbers a little bit too crazy.